Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Jaya Kunja Jaya Gopi Jana Balaba Jaya Giri Baradare Jaya Giri Baradare Jaya Jaya Giri Baradare Jaya Giri Baradare Jaya Gopi Jana Balaba Jaya Giri Baradare Jaya Giri Baradare Jaya Jaya Yasodanandana Jaya Braja Janaranjana Jaya Braja Janaranjana Jaya Yasoda Jaya Braja Janaranjana Jaya Yasodanandana Jaya Braja Janaranjana Jaya Braja Janaranjana Jaya Jaya Braja Janaranjana Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachare Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Yamuna Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachare Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Yamuna Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Jaya Gopi Jana Balaba Jaya Giri Baradare Jaya Giri Baradare Jaya Gopi Jana Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha, Jaya Girivara Jare, Jaya Girivara Jare, Jaya Gopi Jaya Yasodhanandana, Jaya Braja Janaranjana, Jaya Braja Janaranjana, Jaya Yasodhana, Jaya Braja Janaranjana, Jaya Braja Janaranjana. Jaya Yasodhanandana, Jaya Braja Janaranjana, Jaya Braja Janaranjana, Jaya Yasodhanandana, Jaya Braja Janaranjana, Jaya Braja Janaranjana. Jaya Yamuna Siravanachari, Jaya Kunja Vihari, Jaya Yamuna. Jaya Yamuna Siravanachari, Jaya Kunja Vihari, Jaya Yamuna. Jaya Raja Madhava, Jaya Kunja Vihari, Jaya Jaya Raja Madhava, Jaya Kunja Vihari, Jaya Jaya Madhava. Jaya Vishnupada Paramahansa Parivrikacharya Sutta Sadasya Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki. Jaya Vishnupada Paramahansa Parivrikacharya Sutta Sadasya Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki. ISKCON Founder Chayasla Prabhupada Ki. Namacharya Slaridas Thakur Ki. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki, Nitai Gopiyamanande. All glory to the Same devotees. All glory to the Same devotees. All glories to the Same devotees. All glories to the lotus feet of Sri Sri Guru Agora. Narayana Namaskritya Narayana Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jāra-buddhyāpi Nasapadisva Bhadresu Nityam Bhagavati Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamas Loke Bhakti Bhavati Nastiki Vede Ramani Chaiva Purane Bharate Tata Adyan Chamade Chahari Savataki Yate Mokam Karoti Vachalam Pangu Langache Grihi Yakipataham Vande Sri Guru Dinatarane Paramananda Madhava Dhamma Prajita Kadavota Paramoni Mashram Satan Vedan Vastavam Atravastu Shivadan Tapata Yomolana Shima Bhagavate Mahamuni Kitinki Vaipara Ishvara Shaduridi Avarudite Trakitwitaki Shanan Yashaya Shamana Yan Krishna Paramapurushi Bhakti Uttapade Pansansuka Moha Bhayapaha Atoyam Brahmasutranam Bharatata Vininoya Hayati Vasharupushu Vidata Paribimita Savaviditya shanam saram saram paribhimita Savavidam saram hi Shri Bhaktamishati Tarashamitasya tīvra-tāpa Nāñyatasya rati kochi Gurave Gurachandaya Raikayatadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktayata Bhaktayo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pishtaya Bhutale Shmati Bhaktivinoda-swami-namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pachayane Nivisesasya Pashtadishtarine Vanchakapatrubhyascha Kripasindhibhavacha Paritana Pavanavibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So text 10 to 11. Okay. So we are today going to be text number 10 to 11. Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th Canto, chapter 29, text 10 to 11. This is this topic. It is Rasa Panchadhyaya topic. There are 5 chapters which describe the Rasa Lila. So, these 5 chapters is said to be the heart of Bhagavatam. So we read the text, we chant sloka together, and then we read the translation and the purports. Duḥsaha-preṣṭha-viraha tīvra-tāpa-dhutāśubhāḥ dhyāna-prāptācyutāśleṣa nirvṛtyā kṣīṇa-maṅgalāḥ tam. Is that only one? Only one is there? Okay. So duḥsaha-preṣṭha-viraha tīvra-tāpa-dhutāśubhāḥ dhyāna-prāptācyutāśleṣa nirvṛtyā kṣīṇa-maṅgalāḥ duḥsaha-preṣṭha-viraha tīvra-tāpa-dhutāśubhāḥ dhyāna-prāptācyutāśleṣa tameva paramātmānam. Oh, sorry. Okay, I was going to the because there are 2 verses, so you only put one on the bird. So one more time. Duḥsaha-preṣṭha-viraha tīvra-tāpa-dhutāśubhāḥ dhyāna-prāptācyutāśleṣa nirvṛtyā kṣīṇa-maṅgalāḥ. So
duḥsaha-preṣṭha-viraha tīvra-tāpa-dhutāśubhāḥ jāra-prāptācyutāśleṣa nirvṛtyā kṣīṇa-maṅgalāḥ.
somebody else?
duḥsaha-preṣṭha-viraha tīvra-tāpa-dhutāśubhāḥ duḥsaha-preṣṭha-viraha, tīvra-tāpa-dhutāśubhāḥ, jāra-buddhyāpi, nirvṛtyā,
duḥsaha, intolerable, preṣṭha, from their beloved, viraha, from separation, tīvra, intense, tāpa, by the burning pain, dhuta, removed, aśubhāḥ, all inauspicious things in their hearts, dhyāna, by meditation, prāpta, obtained, acyuta, of the infallible Lord Śrī Kṛṣṇa, aśleṣa, caused by the embrace, nirvṛtyā, by the joy, kṣīṇa, reduced to nil, maṅgalāḥ, their auspicious karmic reactions, tam, eva, even though parama-ātmānam, the Supersoul, jāra, a paramour, buddhya, thinking him to be, nevertheless, saṅgatāḥ, getting his direct association, jahur, they gave up, guṇa-mayaṁ, composed of the modes of material nature, dehaṁ, their bodies, sadyaḥ, immediately, prakṣīṇa, thoroughly counteracted, bandhanām, all their bondage of karma. Translation and purports by the disciple of Srila Prabhupada. Actually, this commentary is a rendition of commentaries by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, who gave very extensive commentaries on the 10th canto Bhagavatam, and especially these Raslila pastimes. For those gopis who could not go to see Krishna, intolerable separation from their beloved caused an intense agony that burned away all impious karma. By meditating upon him, they realized his embrace, and the ecstasy they then felt exhausted their material piety. Although Lord Krishna is the Supreme Soul, these girls simply thought of him as their male lover and associated with him in that intimate mode. Thus, their karmic bondage was nullified, and they abandoned their gross material bodies. Commentary. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments on this verse as follows. So it's a very, very long purport. It's like 6 pages, actually 2, 3, more than 6 pages. So obviously I'm not going to read all the purports. It's too long. I just read first page, and then we can do commentaries on that. Okay. But when you have your time, you should read the full commentary. It's kind of very technical, but it can give you some knowledge. So you should read the commentary, full commentaries on your time. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, comments upon this verse as follows. Here, Sukadeva Goswami speaks in a peculiar way he presents the intimate object the gopis attain as if it were an external idea, thus keeping its true nature secret from outsiders, while at the same time he reveals to the confidential devotees well versed in the scientific conclusions of devotional service the internal meaning, that is, its real purport. Thus, to outsiders, Sukadeva says that Krishna gave the gopis liberation, but to the confidential hearers, Sukadeva reveals that when the gopis experienced separation from their beloved, there arose in them both immeasurable unhappiness and immeasurable happiness simultaneously, and that they gradually achieve their desired goal. Thus, the verse can be understood as follows. Because of their intolerable separation from their beloved, the gopis felt terrible agony, by which they caused all inauspicious things to tremble. In other words, when people in general hear of the gopis' extreme agony in separation from their beloved, they abandon thousands of inauspicious things. Things even as fearsome as the subterranean fires of millions of universes, or the powerful poison swallowed by Lord Shiva. More specifically, those who hear of the gopis' love in separation give up their terrible false ego and thinking themselves defeated are shaken. When the gopis meditated on Lord Acyuta, he became manifest and personally came to them, and they experienced great joy by embracing his body, which was full of transcendental love for him. For them, the gopis also experienced great joy by exhibiting personal characteristics and a sense of identification approach to such love. That joy made all their good fortune, both material and spiritual, seem paltry by comparison. The implication is that when other persons see how happy the gopis became upon embracing Krishna, when he manifested himself directly before them, these other persons feel that thousands of so-called auspicious objects are insignificant by comparison, including all the sense gratificatory pleasures found in millions of universes, and even the supersensory pleasure of spiritual bliss, Brahmananda. Thus, hearing of the gopis' distress and the joy that arose, respectively, out of their separation from the Supreme Lord and their union with him, anyone can get rid of all the reactions of his past activities, both sinful and pious. Vaishnavas certainly do not think that sinful and pious reactions can be destroyed only by being lived out. Since, after all, neither separation from the Supreme Lord nor direct association with him are in the category of karma. This kind of elimination of karmic reactions occurs in the stage of bhajan. For those who have come to the level of anatta nirvṛtyā. So as I say, it's a very long purport. There's another 5 pages more to go. So this is the gopis have been called to the forest by Krishna's flute. So Krishna plays his flute, and then the moment the gopis hear it, they run out of their house to meet Krishna in the forest. But there are some gopis who are unable to go. They were prevented by their superiors, husbands, or mothers-in-law, society, so many things. So they were prevented from going to the forest. So this particular text, this is dealing with those gopis. Now, this chapter, as a beginning, this is the beginning of the Rasalila pastimes of Bhagavatam. There are 5 chapters. This is called Rasa Panchadhyayi. Rasa Panchadhyayi means the 5 chapters. That is dealing with Ras, the Rasalila. And these 5 chapters, they are said to be the vital, the life hair of Bhagavatam. The whole of Bhagavatam prepared us to come to these 5 chapters only. So the Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, which we read or hear every day, Bhagavatam is Krishna himself. It's not different from Krishna, because Krishna, after he left this planet, he said, Krishna swadamopagate damagina divisaha kalona sadrushanesa purano koduna audita. So Krishna, when he left the planet, he took away everything with him, and he again manifests himself in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam. So which means by having Bhagavatam in our house, holding Bhagavatam, we are having Krishna in our house, we are holding Krishna. And that's why it may say that Srimad Bhagavatam is the Paramahansa Samhita. This is the only book which is relished by the Paramahansas. Now, the Bhagavatam contains, of course, Bhagavatam is only the topics about Krishna only. Even though, as we read several cantos, they may describe so many different incarnations, different avatars, the activities, but actually Bhagavatam is only about Krishna. Because by reading Bhagavatam, by studying Bhagavatam, one will come face to face with Krishna. It's mentioned, Krishna Bhakti Rasa Swarup, Sri Bhagavata, Tativeda Sasahorit Paramour. This is from the Chitamita. Krishna Bhakti, that the Swarup of Krishna can be realized only by Bhagavatam. Krishna Bhakti Rasa Swarup, Sri Bhagavatam. And is the essence of all the Vedic scriptures. So Bhagavatam is Krishna, and Bhagavatam represents Krishna's body. So the entirety of Bhagavatam is Krishna's body. So it's mentioned that the first and second canto of Bhagavatam is the representation of Krishna's lotus feet. Because the whole 10 cantos, there are 12 cantos of Bhagavatam, so it's Krishna's body. So each canto represents different bodies of Krishna, different parts, different limbs of Krishna. So the first and second canto represent Krishna's lotus feet. And then the third and fourth canto represent Krishna's thigh, his thighs. That is representation of it. And the fifth canto is his navel. The navel is the fifth canto. The sixth canto represent the chest and shoulders of Krishna. So if you can just picture it, that different canto represent Krishna's different limbs. So the sixth canto is Krishna's chest and Krishna's shoulder. The seventh and eighth canto, this represents his arms. His arms, 2 arms. The seventh and eighth canto. And the The 9th canto is said to represent this throat, Krishna's throat. That is the 9th canto. And then the 10th canto is the Krishna's blooming lotus face. Krishna's blooming lotus face, that is the 10th canto of Bhagavatam. Then the 11th canto is his forehead. The forehead, that's the 11th canto. And then the head is the 12th canto. So in these two different cantos represent Krishna's body. And of course, the Ras Panchadhyaya, this is when Krishna smiles and plays his flute. That is these 5 chapters. So, and these 5 chapters describe only the rasa lila. So which means from chapter 29 to chapter 33. So these are the rasa lila pastimes of Bhagavatam. And the Krishna, this description actually, because the Lord performed these rasa lila pastimes mainly to show his mercy to the devotees. To show mercy to the devotees. Now, when we're talking of Rasa Lila, this has been described in the scriptures. When we talk of Rasa Lila, there are two types of Rasa Lila. There is the Nitya Lila, and then there is Maharas. So Nitya Lila there's Nitya Lila and there's Maharas. Normally every Punima, once a month there's a Punim, once a month, there's always Rasa Lila going on every Punim. Rasa Lila going on. So now the Adi Purana described the Nitya Rasa Lila, he described, but the Bhagavatam mainly described the Maharas Lila. And when we talk of the Maharas Lila, there are 2 types of Rasa Lila. Maharas Lila, there is the Saradya, which takes place during the autumn, Saradya. And then there is the Vasantaras, which takes place during the spring, Vasantaras. Now, Bhagavatam describes mainly the Saradya, which is because normally it's especially the month of Kartik. This is when the Rasa Lila normally takes place. This is Saradya Purana. And then the Vasanta Rasa Lila, this only takes place in the spring, but this is described in the Gita Govinda. Gita Govinda is a wonderful description of all of Krishna's pastimes, intimate pastimes with the gopis. So this is described by Srila Jadev Goswami. But Gita Govinda is such a very highly esoteric scriptures that our acharyas actually forbid a neophyte to try to read it. One time Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, he asked Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur if he can print Gita Govinda, if he can publish Gita Govinda. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur replied, yes, he can print only 2 copies. 1 copy for himself and 1 copy for the library. That's it. So it's not something that, Gita Govinda is not something that anyone can just start reading. Because it's very, very highly esoteric. Very, very, unless one is on the topmost transcendental spiritual platform, it's not literature that one can get into. You know. So as I said, the Rasa Lila takes place every full moon, and so the Lord performed this Rasa Lila mainly to show special mercy to the devotees. You can see. So which means it's not that the description of the Rasa Lila is just some erotic descriptions. whereby anyone, any unscrupulous person can just take advantage of it. Say, oh, Raslila, Krishna is doing this, so therefore let me also, do the same thing. Because we have to know who's describing Raslila. The great personality who describes Raslila is Sukadeva Goswami. Sukadeva Goswami described Raslila. And Sukadeva Goswami, he was an Atmaram. He was a complete transcendentalist. A complete transcendentalist that he could not even differentiate between male or female. He's so totally above any bodily considerations. Like as the beginning of Bhagavatam, we read of how when Sukadeva Goswami, when he was passing by, and there are so many young girls, they were bathing naked in a lake. But when they saw Sukadeva Goswami, they did not cover their body. They didn't run and cover their body. Because they see Sukadeva Goswami as a completely transcendentalist. It doesn't, it's any different. They did not cover their body. But when his father, yesterday, was coming by, so they immediately rush and cover all their body, immediately rush and cover their body. So yesterday asked them that, my son just passed by, you didn't cover your body, Sukadeva, but when I'm passing by, when I'm coming, you immediately cover yourself. Why is that? So they said because Sukadeva Goswami is a transcendental personality. He doesn't see any difference between any distinction in this material world. He's completely Atmaram. But you're a Grihastha, you're householder. Obviously, being an householder means you see difference. So in this way, and Sukadeva Goswami, when he went to the assembly of the rishis, to where Parikshit Maharaj was on the bank of the Ganges, where Parikshit Maharaj was sitting, waiting for the end of his life, and he was asking about what he should do. He was asking all the sages what he should do. And the sages, they are giving different ideas that maybe you should meditate, maybe you should perform yoga. But when Sukadeva Goswami came, Parikshit Maharaj asked him the same question. He simply said, here Krishna Katha. Here talks about Krishna. And then all the rishis, all the great sages, when they hear this, they clap their hands and say, oh, sadhu, 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 this is the great prescription. And all these rishis who were hearing Bhagavatam from Sukadeva Goswami, these are all great transcendentalists. Many of them Maharishis, which means they've totally crossed beyond. They're all Atmarams. They're Atmarams. Totally gone beyond the attraction of Maya, attraction of material energy. So they are the one hearing Bhagavatam from Sukadeva Goswami. And it's to them that Sukadeva Goswami is describing Raslila too. So which means if Raslila is a topic for a mundane sense enjoyer, why would Sukadeva Goswami be describing it? So obviously not. And Sukadeva Goswami, right from the beginning, he said that Krishna is Atmaram. Krishna is Yogeshwara. He described it. He said Krishna is Atmaram, Krishna is Yogeshwara. So he was describing it. And actually at the beginning of this commentary of this 29th chapter, which is the beginning of the Raslila Ras Panchadhyayi, at the beginning, Srila Siddha Swami, he had written that he said the purpose of these 5 chapters, Panchadhyayi, the purpose is to develop vairagya, is to develop renunciation from material world and develop attachment to Krishna. So that's the main purpose of these 5 sections of the Bhagavatam, is to develop renunciation. So we should not think of Raslila descriptions as just some some erotic, some loving affairs of mundane persons. And as a matter of fact, at the end of the descriptions, at the end of the Rasalila descriptions, Sukadeva Goswami, he did say that anyone who hear this description of Rasalila pastime the disease of the heart, which is the lusty desire, the disease of the heart will be removed from the person's heart. And the person will develop transcendental loving attachment to Lord Śrī Kṛṣṇa. So, when Mahaprabhu, when he had sent Pradyumna Mishra to Pradyumna Mishra, actually he had come to Mahaprabhu, asking Mahaprabhu that he want to hear the topics about Krishna. He want to hear topics about Krishna. So Mahaprabhu told him that, well, I really don't know topics about Krishna, but if you want to hear the topics about Krishna, you go to Ramananda Roy. He's the expert. You go to him, you can hear the topics about Krishna from him. So taking Mahaprabhu's advice, Pradyumna Mishra, he went to the house of Ramananda Roy. But on reaching Ramananda Roy's house, he found that Ramananda Roy, he was bathing two young girls. He was bathing them, and then massaging their, putting oils all over their body, massaging them, decorating them, dressing them. So Pradyumna Mishra was seeing this. And I became confused in his mind. He said, I thought Ramananda Roy is a great advanced devotee. How come he's bathing young naked girls, massaging their body? Why is this? How come? So he could not hear the topics of Krishna from Ramananda Roy. He simply tell Ramananda Roy that, I just came to see you, so therefore I'm happy that I'm here. So he returned. He did not hear Krishna. And then went back to Mahaprabhu. He went back. So in the morning, when Mahaprabhu asked him that, have you heard Krishna Katha from Ramananda Roy? Have you heard Krishna Katha? And then Pradyumna Mishra described his experience. This what happened, this. And Mahaprabhu said that you don't know anything about Ramananda Roy. He said Ramananda Roy is such a person, even I as a sannyasi, if I see a wooden form of a woman, I become agitated. But Ramananda Roy is such an advanced devotee that he seen this girl that was bathing because he's himself in a position of a manjari, and it's simply because he has to train these girls to dance for Lord Jagannath, and he sees himself as a manjari. His manjari form is bathing these girls in manjari form. So therefore, the great devotees, they are totally beyond. So Mahaprabhu said, he said, Brajabadu Sangha Krishnara Rasadi Bilas, Ye Jana Kare Sune Koreya Vishwas, Riroga Kamaktara Takalya Yakshaya, Tina Gunakshabe Naye Mahadira Hoy. So this Mahaprabhu is telling Pradyumna Mishra, he said, when one hears or describes with great faith the pastimes of Lord Krishna, such as his rasa dance with the gopis, the disease of lusty desires in his heart, and the agitation caused by the three modes of material nature are immediately nullified, and he becomes sober and silent. So you can see that by hearing the topics of Rasalila, the disease of the heart gets nullified. All the materialistic attachment goes away. Read Rogan. Read Rogan means that disease of the heart. It gets nullified. Because Until this get nullified, until this hridrogan get nullified, we cannot see Krishna. We cannot develop any loving attachment to Krishna. So how do we develop loving attachment? How do we get rid of the lusty desires? By hearing Krishna Katha. By hearing Krishna Katha, the topic about Krishna, then we can get rid of the lusty desire within our heart. So Srila Prabhupada, he had written in the purport here, he said, Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur comments in this connection, any person seriously inclined to hear about the pastimes of Krishna's rasa dance, as mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, with great faith and a transcendental, spiritually inspired mind, is immediately freed from the natural lusty desires found within the heart of a materialistic man. You can see. So which means this is what we need. To see Krishna, you have to be free from material lust. But how do you become free? Hear about Krishna. Now, as Srila Prabhupada said here, when a pure Vaishnava speaks on Srimad Bhagavatam, and another pure Vaishnava hears Srimad Bhagavatam from such a realized soul, both of them live in the transcendental world, where the contamination of the modes of material nature cannot touch them. Freed from the contamination of the modes of nature, the speaker and the hearer are fixed in a transcendental mentality, knowing that their position on the transcendental platform is to serve the Supreme Lord. The class of men known as Prakita Sahajas, who consider the transcendental pastimes of Lord Krishna something like the behavior between a man and a woman in the material field, artificially think that hearing the Rasa Leela will help them by diminishing the lusty desires of their diseased heart. But because they do not follow the regulatory principles, but instead violate even ordinary morals, their contemplation of Rasa Leela is a futile attempt, which sometimes results in their imitating the dealings of the gopis and Lord Krishna. To forbid such habits of the Prakita Sahajas, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has excluded their material intelligence by using the word Vishwas. Vishwas means by faith, which must be heard with faith. So this is not an ordinary thing that this Rasa Leela topic. It's not an ordinary topic, and it's been described specifically to purify us. We have to hear it faithfully, but we have to hear it from the right source. We have to hear from the right source. The person who is very, very eager to describe the Lord's pastime, and such person is free from the influence of material energy. Such a person is free from three gunas. And the hearer also, the person who is similarly hearing, such a person must develop a similar interest, must have faith, full faith, Vishwa. So this is some brief introduction to this Rasa Leela descriptions, that yes, one must hear from the right source, and if you hear with faith, that yes, all of our hridrogan will vanish. So the text, which is today's text, which is about the gopis who were forbidden from their house to go and meet Krishna in the forest. Now, there are different types of gopis. Yes, we read about gopis all the time, but there are different classifications of gopis. Some of them are Nitya Siddha gopis, and some of them are Sadhana Siddha gopis. So Nitya Siddha gopis and Sadhana Siddha gopi. Nitya Siddha gopis, they always gopi. They belong to the spiritual world. So which they don't need any practice. They don't need any sadhana. They always, with Krishna, they always give Krishna pleasure. And the sadhana siddha gopis are those by virtue of their spiritual practice, by virtue of their sadhana, then they become free from anatta nirvṛtyā, they become free from anattas, and they develop ruchi, ashakti, all these different levels as described by Srila Rupa Goswami, and ultimately they develop rati towards Krishna. So now these two classifications of sadhana siddha and nitya siddha gopis, they again describe into four. There are four types. You have those who are considered to be rishi or the monachari. This is described in this purport here also. The gopis, those who are forbidden from going to the forest by their relatives. These are mainly rishicharis and sruticharis. In their previous life, they were great rishis. In their previous life, they were great rishis, great sages, and especially when they were in the forest, in Dandakaranya forest. So when Lord Ramachandra, when he was in the forest, he had gone to exile, and there are so many of the rishis there who have been performing meditation for a long period of time, and they've been meditating on Govinda, Krishna. They've been meditating for a long period of time. So when they saw Lord Ramachandra, so seeing his attractive, beautiful form, so they desire to have a loving affairs with the Lord. They desired, but because of course they know that Lord Ramachandra is, he took Ekapatni Brata, only one wife, but they know that an incarnation is going to come. Krishna is going to, the Lord is going to come again in the future as Krishna. So therefore they pray to Lord Ramachandra to grant them the benediction to be able to have intimate association of Lord Krishna in his future incarnation. So Lord Ramachandra grant them this request. And then they saw the Sruticharis. These are the personified Vedas. The personified Vedas who normally offer many prayers to the Lord. Like in the chapter 87 of 10th canto, you find the prayers of the personified Vedas is there. Very nice prayers. So the personified Vedas, though, they also, because the Vedas are personified, they are persons. Each Vedas, Upanishads, Puranas, they are personified, there are persons behind them. So these persons, personified Vedas, the Sruticharis, they also prayed to the Lord. They desired so much for the Lord to have association, intimate, loving association with the Lord. And this is what happened. So they, when Lord Krishna appear in Braj, so they also take birth within the womb of various gopis. And then you have the other gopi who are called Devakanya and Gopakanya. Devakanyas are those who are like the daughters of the demigods. But those daughters, they are expansions of the Nitya gopis. And then there's a Gopakanya, the gopis who took birth from the womb of the gopis. So these Gopakanya, these are described that these are Nitya Siddha gopis, because they are actually the Krishna's own eternal associate, eternal consorts, and of course headed by Srimati Radharani. Now, in the there are other considerations which are put in the earlier commentaries. That's the when Krishna was, when he stole the garment of the gopis, he stole their garments, and the Vajrahan Lila, when he stole their garments, and that time, of course, those gopis, they were, because they've been observing the nirvṛtyā for a whole month, and then in order to fulfill their wish, so Krishna appeared before them, and then he stole their garments. So now, the question was asked that, is it that if we're talking of Nitya gopis, the Nitya Siddha gopis, so how come they are meditating on Lord Krishna's performing austerities so that they can become Krishna's wife? So if they are already Nitya Lila, Nitya Siddha, so how come? Why is this? So the answer is given that because this is just part of the Nara Lila, the human-like pastimes, which the Lord performed. Because Krishna said, okay, because Krishna fulfilled a desire that, okay, we're going to be having Rasa Lila together, when Krishna told them that. But this is part of the Nara Lila pastime, whereby the gopis, they were performing this austerity by being bathing in the cold water of the Yamuna. And then Krishna came at the end of the austerities and stole their garment. So anyway, many of these topics are going to be going on because I think time is going. That we're going to be hearing more and more of this. And of course, I hope the majority of the purport of Srila Vishnu Chakravarti is put on every verse, because this is very, very sweet chapters, very, very sweet chapters. These 5 chapters, and I hope there are commentaries on every verse, that is undiluted commentaries from the acharyas. So thank you very much. Is there a question? You're raising your hand? Okay. Yes, she wants to ask a question at the back.
I'd like to know what about on internet when we look for Gita Govinda, they said it's a sporting pastime between Radha and Krishna. And also I hear a lot of devotees, they said Krishna played football, for example, and we need to play also. So play, is it also blocking the devotee from seeing Krishna?
No. We don't have to play. It's not that we have to play down to imitate the Krishna's pastime, Lila with the gopis. What we have to do is simply follow the regulatory principles. Hearing Bhagavatam from devotees, hear Bhagavatam, and also speak Bhagavatam. So that's basically what we have to. It's not that we have to. Gita Govinda is extremely esoteric, Gita Govinda. And especially in our platform, it's not something that we have to.
I was checking on the internet how they present Gita Govinda, and they said sporting pastime. So
yeah, it is sporting pastime. Yeah, it is a sporting pastime but this is Lila, is a sport.
They said it's esoteric. They said they announced it's a sporting pastime between Radha and Krishna.
No, it's a sporting pastimes. It's a sporting pastime of Krishna and the gopis. Srimati Radharani is the head of the gopis. Is a sporting Lila. Lila actually means sports. But again, this is it's not something that we can get into in our stage. In our stage, we have to hear from the Guru and the sadhus, the Vaishnavas. We hear Bhagavad Gita, we hear Bhagavatam, and then try to, focus more on our rants, and when we are chanting, that we think more of Krishna instead of thinking of other things when we are chanting. So eventually, this Lila will be revealed to us. These books are there, but many persons, they take advantage and they give very, very unscrupulous understanding. And especially the prakrita-sahajya. Prakrita means mundane persons, mundane people. So, but our acharya did not recommend that we get into this. What you read on the internet is not the reality. The reality is what is contained within Bhagavatam. And especially we should hear from our acharya. What Srila Prabhupada said, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta said. We should hear from them. We should read what they say about this. So, and that's why this Panchadhyayi, it's loaded with a lot of information. It's loaded with a lot of secrets about the inner aspect of, of Krishna consciousness. This 5 chapters, and that's why these 5 chapters is actually very so confidential that it's kept hidden in Bhagavatam. It's not there. It's hidden. And of course, when we read the commentaries of the acharyas, it just takes us beyond, beyond this world. Krishna said that this Rasalila pastimes of mine, it's so dear to my heart that I cannot even describe it. I can't even describe it. So Lord Krishna said that. It's so dear to my heart I can't even describe it. Anyway, so don't let us be, jump into this other descriptions. So many books, many books are there. But we have to go gradually according to our level of sadhana. And eventually, the Lord will reveal himself eventually to us. The time will come when this lila will become automatically revealed. The time will come. But we have to be patient. We have to be patient that way. Any other question, comments? What? Somebody raising their hand? Any question? Were you able to understand me? Is it understandable? Huh? Do you understand or not understand? Yeah. There's a question here. It's not working? Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, how to reach to the level of anartha-nirvṛtyā?
How to reach?
Level of anartha-nirvṛtyā.
Oh, anartha-nirvṛtyā. Oh, okay. So, Srila Rupa Goswami said, Ado Shraddha Sadhu Sangha, Bhajan Kriya, anartha-nirvṛtyā. So, which means by, in the beginning, faith, then sadhu sangha, association with the sadhu, and then more faith, then bhajan kriya means engagement in devotional service under the direction of a sadhu. In this case, let's say guru, who is competent. Under the direction, we engage in bhajan, devotional service. And then through the engagement in devotional service, bhajan kriya, then anartha-nirvṛtyā will come, which means all the anarthas will go away. But that comes from engagement in devotional service, in bhajan, under the direction, the guidance of a sadhu or a pure devotee of Krishna, who's a guru. So which means our faith, our focus simply how to please a guru, how to please a sadhu. What's that? Tomorrow was Kandiya. That's that famous song by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Where is that? Kandiya, tomorrow Karuna Oile. That by your mercy, by your, I can attend everything. Huh? Panaraki Buara. He said, Guru de Kipa Bindu de Ya Koroe, that's a Corona Koro. This is something we have to follow. Then we become free from anatta and everything. And without freedom from anatta, we cannot see beyond. We cannot even see our own welfare without freedom from anatta. And that's what is keeping us from progressing in Krishna consciousness, because of the anatta. There's so many anattas is there. Disease of the heart, so many things. Anattas. Anatta means what is not Krishna. There's altar, then there's analta. Altar means worth. Worth of Krishna consciousness. And anatta means what is not necessary, what is not worth it. So we have to get that worth, which is the worth of Krishna, Krishna Prem. That's what we have to look for. But to look for that, we have to get rid of these anatta, unnecessary things. Sadhu Ninda, Aparat to the Vaishnava, Vaishnava Ninda, improper chanting, Nam-aparat, all these things, it's all part, it's all there. Many apparats, many anattas, which we have to aspire to become free. We really have to fight for it. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, one more question.
Thank you, Prabhu. Is there, in the yesterday's purport, we read that the disciples of Srila Prabhupada wrote these purports, who translated Vishwanath commentaries, urged the reader to read the full commentaries of Vishwanath And they also mentioned that we urge a qualified Vaishnava to write these commentaries. So, but this was a long time ago. Today you said the same thing in the class, that you should take the time to read this commentary.
Yeah.
So is there an authorized translation of Srila Vishwanath commentaries in the 10th canto that you can read without kind of getting distracted from?
Yeah, and of course the translation is there. Just like we have this book called Sarata-darshini. Sarata-darshini. These are the 10th canto commentaries of Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur. And of course, the more elevated a devotee who is translating, the more this commentary will come out. That can be just normal, like anybody who knows Sanskrit can try to translate something, but the more a person becomes more devoted, the more the commentary comes out. Because in the Sanskrit language, there may be some word may be there, but a word may mean many things. Something may be conveyed to something, but it has different connotations is there. So therefore, when a devotee is more realized, more devoted, then the commentaries will come out. Because the commentary is like giving out, this is the heart of the acharya, this is their heart. But again, we have some books, especially we have Sarata-darshini is there. You can get in a bookstore in here. Sarata-darshini, the 10th canto commentaries of Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur. Some great Vaishnavas, they have done some translations, Banuswami and all that. So you can read them, they will give you something. But the best reading is your own sadhana. Focused chanting. That's the best reading. Not just reading, but we have to focus. Our sadhana is the most important. So thank you very much. Granth Rashim Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Hare Krishna.